Here on ESPN Radio. In just a moment, we'll have the one and only Dave Shamandel with Slick Sticks and slicksticks.com, your key to better golf. Clubs, grips, repairs, adjusting loft and lies, and flight scope. Dave Shamandel and Slick Sticks, your winning combination. He'll be calling here in just a minute. At the end of the first break, we're going to come back with the match game, Golf Talk Radio match play match game, and we're going to have two callers call in. And we're going to play a little match game on the air, just like you used to see on the TV. I used to watch that when I was a kid. I loved that game when I was a kid. That was an awesome game. And we want to thank also Paso Robles Golf Club, located in the heart of Central Coast wine country. Check out the fully renovated golf course and facilities, multi-million-dollar upgrade. You can book online at PasoRoblesGolfClub.com. You can call them right now for tee times, 805-238-4722. And you guys will have to check that out. You will not be disappointed. Full bar and veranda that overlook the 9th and 18th holes and the greens is a great place to hang out. So thank you to partnering them and for us to be able to give away rounds of golf from Paso Golf Club as well. So did you eat turkey?
I did.
Did you overeat?
No, I've tried. Well,
would you consider, I should say,
I didn't
did you
gorge.
Consider like you just gorged yourself?
I did not.
I was very happy with myself. I did one plate. I will admit the plate was full, but after I was done with one, I'm like, I can't go beyond this. I was already thinking about getting up on that Friday morning early for, the busiest day of golf, where I guess they call it.
So you're being
brother-in-law
responsible.
Day. Yeah, I heard a new phrase. It's brother-in-law day. You get to go play with your brother-in-law because the family, the girls go shopping.
Yeah. So we've done that in the industry. It was always the busiest day, and you'd rent all your sets out, and people that play once a year are out there slashing around at it. Playing from too far tees and playing with Joe Rules guy.
We had
that's why they only play once a year.
It was really interesting and talk about a customer service experience. We had two gentlemen yesterday. Just like all the golf courses, they're full right. Yesterday, we had two guys that booked at 7:30 that absolutely did not want to play with anybody. Not a single person. It just amazes me. Golf Talk Radio. Hi, David. We'll pull you right up. Hang on. Okay. Hello, David.
Hello there. How are you today?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Is this the Michael Bramnick School of Golf?
No, it's the Dave Shamandel, Billy Gibbs, Jim DeLobby,
Hotline.
Gary Setting, Steve Wolf, Scott Sickich, Scott Hathaway, Brian Taylor. I'm just naming people that I've worked with.
If it sounds good, let's give it a shot group, huh?
Yeah, it is, man.
There you go. How's everybody today?
Good, bud.
Very good. Very good.
I'm glad to hear that.
Happy to be here. You survived Turkey Day?
Oh, yeah. God, what a great day. I went up Sacramento, stayed with some family in-laws, and wow, we had about 25, 30 people, and it was really cool. There were a lot of kids, and I haven't been around. It's a lot of fun.
Did it make you feel younger?
Older.
Oh, no.
No?
No, we're past that.
You're past that. Hey, I got a question for you. Billy brought it up earlier.
Yeah.
What's your recommendation on kids that say they're like 10, 11, and 12? You got parents that come up and go, hey, I want my kids to have a set of clubs that's better than just a mix them up set. What do you suggest to those parents? Because that's a tough age, right?
$4,000 and set them up.
Give you $4,000?
How's business?
Very slow right now.
Yeah, I bet.
No, and that's a real good question, because to do it right, it does cost a couple of bucks. You definitely, if you really want to get the kid into the game properly, you want the clubs that semi-fit. One easy out, and it's definitely, I think, the best way to go is get a half set, because they're not hitting it that far as it is, and your gaps between clubs might only be 3, 4, 5 yards. And so if you go with just the even numbers or just the odd numbers, well, you're saving half right there.
Yeah.
And you price round.
Huh.
And in another week and a half, they're going to outgrow them.
Huh.
There's a fine line, though, because they're too heavy. Strong enough, it doesn't work. So
I have
there's
seen
a
that
fine
happen.
line of how much bigger and how much heavier.
You know, it really is, Bill. And I find even more so than just that fine line, which you're absolutely right there. But, you know, you get a kid into a club and you say, okay, this is, just making the number up, 1.5 inches too long for you. So I want you to, I'll draw a little line on the grip. I want you to choke up to that line. So we'll make another line on your club. And I've done that many times, and it works really good if the kid has zero ego.
Right. Well, it's funny.
Which is rare.
We have the 9-year-old that comes in with Dad's brand new TaylorMade driver, right? He's so
Yeah,
proud.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
walking up
yeah.
there, it sticks out of his bag like it was a lightning rod. And he comes walking up. Look what I got, man.
I'm
Dad
hanging
gave
on
it
to
to
the
me.
end of this
Yeah,
sucker.
break his heart because this dad's, don't drop down his driver to his kid, right?
Right.
But it's not beneficial. I mean, it's just not. And so he's right. If you get something light enough and you can mark it, like if it's an inch or two over, but 7 inches over or 12 inches over, and especially the old steel shafts, that just, I'm talking for kids. And
I remember
we
that.
made it work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's beneficial to kids. It was not beneficial for us when we grew up. We did it.
And they're available. That's the thing.
And they're available. You're right.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. He's right. They're everywhere. Yeah.
And you can get shafts that, you're not going to see these shafts on tour, but you can get shafts fairly inexpensive nowadays. Ball and all the things only be $9-10.
So if you had, Dave, you have a father or a mother come to you with a set of clubs, and they're like, I want to cut these clubs down for my son or my daughter, and they're graphite. Can you do that?
Oh, certainly. Do it all the time.
What's it do to the integrity of the club?
And not much, really. Anytime you go with a real short club, it's not going to play the same way as a real long club will play. Your swing weights are going to go down drastically, and a lot's going to happen to it. But you're putting something in their hand that they can hopefully hit. Like Billy was saying, just cutting it down isn't the answer. You're cutting. What club are you cutting down? Are you cutting down an extra stiff steel dynamic gold shaft, or are you cutting down maybe a 45-gram graphite shaft?
Right.
Well, we can make that one work.
You could cut the clubs down for the kids, and that's why I called Mike yesterday, U.S. Kids Tour, and she's playing clubs and tournaments looking at it.
My dad told me that they were aerodynamically designed. I could run faster.
But
I'm still wearing them.
Make now sets, and you build them all the time. They're not over expensive. They're user-friendly costs. And they match, and so they please the young person, and it's consistency through the set. Although how consistent a 9-year-old swing is, I don't know, but pretty more than most people might think.
I was just going to say that, Bill. They're a lot more consistent than a lot of adults I work with.
Absolutely, and so I'm learning that. And that's what the importance of sets. As you know, Dave, people often they ask, "Where can we donate our set?" It's so sweet, and I get it. The men's, I got a 2-iron ping.
You
Right.
go into them, you know that.
Come over and pick up those 4 clubs for Hutter, and there's a hybrids like Dave just mentioned. The graphite hybrids are off. They're amazing. Dave, we come around. You've done it. You did it for us. Put grips, junior grips on a whole bunch of clubs for us. And
there's a biggie right there. Make sure they have a grip that they can hang on
that
to.
they can hold on to.
Oh, see, that's a huge point.
You look at kids, and most kids don't have very big hands.
And
you give them that club, and it's like, hang on, kid.
It's like it's like holding a telephone pole.
It is.
Swinging that thing, man.
It really is.
It's so
and so that is
true.
huge right there.
Yeah.
To kind of put this all in a nutshell, it's almost an impossible question to answer until you ask the parents one question, and I hate asking the question, what's your budget?
Yep. I had to ask it. I asked it last night. I asked it.
That's the question, Dave. You're right.
Because you can go from the set you were speaking of, it's $140 or whatever, just throwing a number out there,
right,
up to hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
And but does that number really make a huge difference? Where's the line that it makes common sense? This is the best value for quality.
Right.
Yeah.
What number is that?
Diminishing returns.
Right.
That does kick in eventually.
Right.
To really do it right, and I'm not saying a full set and frequency matching shafts and swing weights and all that, but just something solid for a kid that halfway fits. You're still looking at a couple $300.
Yeah. And at that level, if that's what they're looking for, they're willing to pay. I know that's what's happening with this young lady. It's time. She's taking a serious. She's not just coming once a week for 45 minutes or an hour.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing this 3 or 4 times a week, and she's playing in some user friendly about that. That's why we have equipment for all kids that are programming, right? And they typically 85% come once a week. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm. And then you're scrounging around in your bag looking and say, well, let's try this one. Oh, here's this one. Could match up with that, okay. And, you can get them out pretty cheap, but then what are you giving them? So, like I say, that is the number one question that I do ask, because I don't like it to be all about money, but kind of gets down to a lot of the times that's what it's about.
Well, I think you can ask it in a very honest way. So what are the goals? Or what is your intentions with this kid?
That's perfect.
What are you really planning on doing? Because if you're at A, B, C, and D is your plan, then you got to invest. That's just what it is.
If you're just introducing them to the game, then that's a whole nother.
Yeah, if you're coming once a week, or how often do they practice? How often are they playing? And if they answer the questions where this is going to be something more than just the once a week, and they're going to compete, then there's an investment should be made.
Right.
And then that set could be turned over. I mean, so this when you go to a little bigger one, there's a market for that set of clubs.
Right.
I was just going to say, get the word out in the first tee. Hey, folks, whose kid out there is growing out of their clubs? I'll take them.
Yeah, I've got a waiting list. They're serious.
Oh, I'll bet you do.
So that's what I mean. And it could be a cost. I mean, you can sell that little set of clubs so you get some of your investment back.
Right.
Right. So there is a way and there's a market for that, but it should be for the certain kid. And Dave, I think your question is a hard one, but it's a must ask. It's a must.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And I do that for adults looking to be fit to a driver.
Yeah. Exactly.
You got to do it with everybody, because there are sometimes you're looking at him and go, boy, that shaft would really work with this guy, but I don't think he can afford it. And then you're in the back of your mind.
That's a good
mind, but I will be. He didn't come back with a budget. I threw some numbers at him. He said, "Oh, that sounds great." And I'll tell you offline what that number was. But I just think, where do I go with this, and who do I give him? Do I give Dave your card, or give him your card, or both, obviously, and let him make a decision? But I think this question is going to be asked a lot right now. If people are listening and their kids are getting involved, this question should be asked. Do you get a certificate?
Club, if they're willing to make a little bit of an investment, a few $100. Tom Wishon Golf puts out a junior set that's driver, fairway wood, couple of hybrids, and 4 irons, I think, and a putter at a very reasonable price. And they're not the typical junior set that even the major manufacturers put out, where the heads are made out of very poor materials. And
balsa wood.
Also,
almost.
That's so funny.
But they're made out. Look at junior clubs, and when they get those little scratches on them, and look at what the material's like underneath, it's almost like pig iron sometimes. Most of them are made out of zinc, because it's real cheap and they can keep the weight down.
Yeah.
But Wishon has a set where they're made out of stainless steel and really good heads, really solid, and they work real well. So if they really do want to make a little bit of an investment, that's a good way to go.
And if they're
because it's not tremendously expensive, but also it's a real high quality item, which you don't get a lot in junior clubs. That's one thing you got to make sure when you're talking to people looking at clubs is, what are they getting?
Yeah.
If they're getting a bunch of zinc heads,
they could have Barbie on little. I've seen some adorable little sets of clubs coming up to the programming, right? These little. And they're just as cute as can be. But that's not for that little competitive golfer. So that conversation needs to be made. And what is the investment you want to make? Because quality will matter. And so let's say she's 9 and just turned 9. You could get her to a set that might fit a 10 or 11-year-old, which you can mark the little grip like you mentioned, and she could have it for years.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
For years.
Well,
right.
And that's a crapshoot in itself. I remember about a 2-year span with our old buddy Jack Averett.
But he was 14.
Built him a driver.
Yeah. And he grew 11 inches overnight.
Yeah, just about. He loved that thing. And then I saw him on the driving range one time, and it came up to almost like to his knee.
I know.
And I said, "Oh God, we need a new driver."
Yeah.
So, or actually, I think we just reshafted it.
But that's.
And I said, "Okay, Darren, I got you made on this one. It's a little heavier, a little longer. This is going to last a while." Well, I got a phone call in like 3 months.
Well, I was
Dave, this ain't
that's
working.
the parents' number one fear.
Well,
I mean,
but I was reading this thing about fitting juniors, and I've got this in front of me that when you're going to finally get that set, it said you should wait 12 months after the peak height velocity of kids, right? Because Dave's like he fought with Dave or Jack,
Yeah.
boom, 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 but they were playing that way.
Yeah.
And the girls should be immediately following their peak height velocity. I mean, when they stop that big growth, which is 13 years old, 12.
Yeah.
So it is different for everybody. But there's the averages, obviously. But you're right. Owen grew up a foot overnight too. I mean, literally in a month, he was gone. From I come back, I didn't recognize him.
I remember. Well, I grew a foot in a year one time, and
See?
it's painful.
Yes, and the poor kids are struggling because their clubs aren't working the way they used to. The line angles have changed. They don't have their bodies doing different weird things. But that's that little window of growth. But for a 9 and
Well, it could to kind of skip a part, but going to the end of Jack, he went to a driver, and I said, "Wow, this is really cool." He went from a kids club to he's got a big boy club now.
Yeah,
and we were all proud of ourselves, and we put a stiff shaft in it, and yeah, he's in a big boy driver. 3-4 months go by. He needs not only a big boy, but a big man driver.
Big fast driver, yeah.
And that was his body hadn't changed that much between those two, but his ability sure did change.
Yeah, there's
his
the speed
and so
window. Yeah, his speed.
That's part of it too.
His speed window is TPI.
So interesting.
Jeez, I believe that's an exception to the rule. I mean,
Oh, there's no doubt about it. He's a 1 in a billion
There's an exception.
shot.
But Dave, we have a new game called Match Play, and we are starting this. And you remember the old match game with Gene Rayburn, or was that his? I think that was his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to ask you a question, and you have to match. We'll see if you can match Mike. I got a question about
Oh,
Mike.
they used to get some really weird
So
stuff.
we got
on that show.
we got a minute we can play with
Yeah.
this. Okay.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
bet.
All right, man.
Hang on.
So Mike, get some music up.
Mike, do you have your?
And do you want an easy
your
one to
finger
start?
on the cough button?
Yeah, be nice.
Do you guys?
Okay,
Do you guys
good
want?
luck.
Do you want an easy one or more challenging one, guys?
Oh, I don't care.
What do you think, Mike?
Go middle of the road.
All right, here we go.
All right.
All right, you guys ready?
I remember the song.
No. Here we go. Mike often confuses golf with marriage. He sometimes refers to his wife as his blank.
Oh my gosh, man! You started off with that one.
Start that. We'll do that one more
All right.
time.
Mike often confuses golf with marriage. He sometimes refers to his wife as his blank. Write something down, Mike. We got to see if it
I
matches.
need to write something
Yeah,
down.
you write something down,
All
and then
right.
he can say it. But I got to see yours in writing first.
All right.
Well,
And I hope she's not. Is she listening?
Probably she's getting ready to call in.
Great. All right, I got my answer. Bing, my light's on.
those guys on those TV shows say such stupid
know.
things.
Yes.
Here's a question. Mike often confuses golf with marriage. He sometimes refers to his wife as his blank.
Caddy.
Caddy. What'd you write? You matched him.
Yeah,
Nice.
David.
not
We got
what-
a match.
That's not what I
bud.
had.
We had Caddy as well. What'd you have?
Old bag.
Oh,
See, I was being nice.
that was,
What?
wow.
I was
Well,
being nice.
I meant that in a very kind way, man.
Yeah, oh, I can tell.
I was
Yeah.
I was being the Richard Dawson of
All
the
right,
group.
I better take a break so I can call my wife before
Sorry,
she calls.
Amy. So you got a match, Dave. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You matched the co-host. Good
and
job.
I went a 3-night stay at my house.
At your own house.
There you go.
That's a
You
wonderful
can
thing.
come stay in the Giants room
Hey,
at my house, Bill.
I
Or,
can tell you
Dave.
nothing better than your own house when you try.
Yeah.
He just got back from a trip, right, Dave?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
No-
actually, I told Lois, I said,
Nothing
yeah,
better.
that was really nice. I love your family dearly, but I'm glad we're home.
Absolutely.
It's so
I agree.
funny.
I'll see you soon, Dave. Thanks for your time.
David, thank you very
Hey.
much.
Have a great one, guys. Talk to you in a week.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Oh, Mike, you got those clubs, didn't you?
Yeah, they're here. I got them.
Beautiful. I'll
Thank
see you
you.
guys later.
Thank you, David. All right, guys, we'll be right back with the Golf Talk Radio match play.
Did
match
I
game,
say
match
old
play.
bag? Did I say that?
I think you did. And we got a couple callers, but you guys will be able to call
Can I
in
say
too.
it to nice, shiny, pretty bag?
You can do that.
I would like
too.
to change that before Amy calls.
Stay with us right here on Golf Talk Radio, right here on ESPN. We'll be right back.